Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Well, I got it.
I got it.
Of course I got it.
I got it right after work.
That's right. I got the COVID-19 vaccine.
Because self-care.
I got it because I wanted to get back to my normal.
I was one of the first ones that got it. And now, I'm helping others get theirs.
So let's get it together. Sign up and get your vaccine today, and let's stop COVID in its tracks. Visit IGotItMS.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed. This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for all those who's listening and watching it from around the world. And we are now live from the corner of Dalton and Lynch Street. It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the Pregame with your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready, because we pregame harder than the other show's part. It's the Pregame.
And welcome into the Pregame Show here on the Black College Sports Network, where, of course, today our Jackson State men's and women's teams, they'll be taking on the Mississippi Valley State Develettes and the Devils. So be sure to catch that game. That game will be streaming live on Mississippi Valley State Sports YouTube channel for both women's and men's games. And, of course, we're going to get into all that action as we preview the women's and men's games. But, Brother Neely, man, welcome back into the show, man.
Man, I've seen a lot of you this week, so I don't even have to ask you. Man, I know how you've been.
Exactly. We've been up on each other all week.
Whoa. Phrasing,
rephrasing, pause.
We have not been all up on each other all
we've
week.
Been around each other all
Yeah, we've been around each other. Shout out to Wendy, your wife. I ain't been up on the
pause. No doubt, man. But of course, this past week, man, February 2nd was National Signing Day. And I tell you what, Jackson State was able to knock things out the park again this past National Signing Day. But, you know, we kind of talked a little bit about this offline. You know, a lot of the heavy lifting was done back in December. February 2nd was kind of that cherry on top of the Sunday.
Yeah, you know, historically speaking, when that signing day comes, that's when you just get this big influx of folks making announcements. Well, we had already had so many game-changing announcements, not only for Jackson State, not only for the SWAC, but HBCUs in this level of college football, if you will. You know, you signed the #1 player in the nation in Travis Hunter. You had a top receiver in the nation in Kevin Coleman. And so by the time we got to actual February 2nd, Chuck, there was a decrescendo, if you will, compared to the crescendo. Yes, I was in the band, so I know those musical terms. Embouchure, get the mouth right.
I was listening. Right?
I got so many layers to need, y'all just ain't up on it. But we were peaking. You know, we had that appetizer, we had that entree. And by the time we got dessert, man, it was just a cherry on the top. But all in all, a successful signing class, for Coach Prime and Jackson State. Another historic one. That makes 2 in a row where Jackson State has had in aggregate the #1 class for this level of college football, man. So just outstanding effort from Coach Prime, the recruiters, Coach O, head of recruiting and player personnel, all the assistant coaches who got out there on the road, even during a resurgence of Omicron, to go out there and get these last recruits in. So as Coach Prime said, he just told us this week, and we're going to talk about our visit with him later in the show, that the team has absolutely gotten better. And this is a team that went undefeated in the SWAC. And he expects that this team, with this signing class for 2022, will be better than the 2021 team.
A team that went undefeated in the SWAC and got better in the off season. You said a mouthful there, man. When you take a look at, and of course, you can go to JSU Tiger, go JSUTigers.com to get a full reading on the signing class, as well as a bit of a bio under the football tab. But I tell you what, that says a lot about the effort that the staff put in to put this class together. But for a lot of recruiting ranking individuals, still had Jackson State #1 in terms of FCS recruiting.
Sure. Still #1 class. I don't think I've seen anyone have us less out of the top 5. I've seen some folks have us at 3 and 2 and 4, but no matter who does the polling, the research, when you put that class together, we're in the top 5. I tend to believe and lean toward the needle of #1. Which, I mean, when you have players who are 5 stars that commit and sign, and they're the #1 at their position and #1 overall, then it's easy to see why we're #1 at this division. But hats off, great signing class. Again, as Chuck said, go to GoJSUTigers.com. You can get the bios on all these players, and make sure that you follow them on social media. Make sure you follow them on Instagram, Twitter, wherever they have pages. That helps increase their NIL value. You know, the more followers they have, the more likes they get, the more companies want to reach out to them and utilize them. So we are here about growing this brand and growing these young athletes into professionals. So it's important that you follow them and support them on social media, because it is their brand, it is their business now.
No doubt about it. And we saw that this past week with Mal Wyden. Was able to sign an NIL deal with a company. But like you said, be sure to go to their Instagram pages, and follow those guys. It increases their value. Speaking of increasing value, we had an opportunity, tremendous opportunity this past week to go visit Country Prime. And I tell you what, that was an experience unto itself to go up there and meet with Coach Prime and really just kind of get the state of Jackson State football. Tremendous experience, Neely, going up there with you. But a lot of great segments are going to be previewing or coming out on the Pregame Show YouTube page over the next few weeks. We were able just to talk with Coach Prime and just get so much tremendous insight into what he's looking at, not only with this Jackson State program, but HBCU football in general.
Yeah, spent an entire day with him on his estate, his ranch, and toured the wooded parts of it, the lakes. Spent time in his home. We were there from just about sunrise to sunset, and lots of information. And so for the rest of this month, with this Black History Month, we're going to be featuring him as living Black history and giving you segments of things we talked about from his personal life. That we call the first lady of HBCU football, Tracy Edmonds, to his close family friends who've been there with him, the Youngs. His good friend, Nate Newton, Cowboys legend, who's been on the pregame show before, was with us that day. So we had a tremendous time, man. Everything from breakfast, lunch, and dinner till it's time to get out. And Chuck, what y'all going to see in the future segment, he calls it Country Prime, but I renamed it Sunshine because I called back to Jack, said, I don't want to come home. I ain't coming back.
It is.
I'm gonna stay here. But he reminded me that even Jesus got up in 3 days, so nobody can stay with him.
Nobody can stay with him more than 3 days. But I tell you what, it was scenic, it was restful, it was peaceful, and I tell you what, you really get an opportunity to kind of, I can see where you can get there, recoup, reflect, and more or less look at what he wants to do in the future with this Jackson State program. And we had an opportunity to sit back and watch and talk to a recruit on National Signing Day. And I tell you what, that was a very unique experience. Roy, if you could cue that up, man, let's take a look at Coach Prime as we were able to sit down and he was talking to a recruit.
Why you play the game? Why you play the game? Why do you play the game?
I play the game because it's fun to me, and I want to be able to take care of my family when I get older.
Are you in love with it or you in like with it?
I love it. I'm in love with anything you could think of.
Okay. It
makes me happy and it makes me a better person.
What kind of game you have?
The game I got, I'm physical. You go get a dog out of me, you get everything you want out of me.
I need some dogs, man. Some Rottweilers, some guys that we just acquired some wonderful kids that got that it. So you coming in with a dominant class already, and I don't need you fading to the back of the class. I need you fading to the front. You should take that as a challenge. Like, hey, man, I'm gonna prove to y'all I'm better than all that. You ready for that?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, why should I take you, dog?
I'm a dog. You're gonna get the best out of me for sure. Like you said, I'm not gonna come in with like the low mentality. I'm gonna take the leading spot, do what I gotta do, work hard. Also in the classroom, I'm gonna work hard. You guys been at HBCU. I can learn more about my culture and my roots and where I come from. And I can bring swagger to the locker room. All that good stuff.
All right. We'll get back to you today, my brother.
All right, man.
All right. Let's go.
Welcome back into the pregame show, Bishop and Neely. Great insight there. And one of the things Coach Prime is looking for in those new recruits, Neely, character. He wants to make sure that he's bringing in the right guy into this Jackson State program.
Yeah, that jumps out when we spent time with him as he was talking to some other recruits that day. And he admits that whereas the last signing class was historic because of the pandemic, they didn't get to drill down as much as they would like to in that character aspect because you weren't able to get into homes and sit on couches with moms and dads and uncles and cousins running around. So he was doing all this virtual. But this time around, they've placed an extra emphasis on not just those prime attributes of tough, fast, smart, and disciplined, but character as well. And so you heard a coach there in his recruitment pitch. Most coaches, they're going out recruiting and they're selling the university. Prime was sitting there saying, why should I take you? You got to sell yourself. We know what we have and we know what we're building, what we're capable of. Where do you fit in? I need to hear from you from the character aspect, from your work ethic aspect. And some of that conversation we left out, but there were some nuggets in there where you could just tell that's a focus for this year's signing class and this year's 2022 football program.
Hey, that was a very unique experience in terms of listening to an individual sell himself to the university, which I thought was sort of unique when you take a look at normally it's in reverse, like you just mentioned. The schools selling themselves to the recruit, but Coach Prime really wanted to drill down. Why are you looking at Jackson State? Why do you think you would be a right fit for this program?
Yeah, that was a special moment, and it helps these kids, even when they come on the pregame show and we interview them. He wants them to grow and become professionals in all phases. And that means, having some interview skills and having some presentation skills, even with NIL, your presentation skills and how you carry yourself on social media and how you can speak and pitch for a particular product. He is all about training these athletes for more than just the game of football, because the truth is the majority of college football players do not go on to the NFL, but he wants to make sure that they go on to other aspects of professionalism, including, and you're hearing it here first, he's working on setting up a national signing day for athletes as it relates in a draft for athletes as it relates to Fortune 500 companies. We had an opportunity to sit with him while he was having a virtual meeting with Under Armour about our new uniforms. But that was the kind of thing that came up in that conversation is, we're not just looking for Under Armour and these companies to dress our athletes, but we need our athletes to go on to work for companies that you see with us like Pepsi and Walmart and Under Armour and so forth. So there's a lot of things out there on the table he's working on. And it's not just the off season, because he has no off season. He's always, on the go for Jackson State football and always at the negotiation table. And he is a pretty savvy negotiator.
Savvy. Yes, he is. I think that is the buzzword there in terms of talking with regards to Coach Prime and his business acumen. Extremely savvy in terms of what he wants to see with regards to this Jackson State brand. And as you see the pictures of scrolling behind us there, it was fascinating to sit and be around that and listen to, his vision. And, there's that give and take, and he wants to make sure everything is nailed down to his standards. So I think that was huge to be able to sit there and watch that.
Yeah, that was one of the takeaways that I liked, is that to hear a company start off with a no, and then go to a maybe, and then to a we'll do it by the time he was done working them. So it was just fantastic to be a part of that. As Chuck mentioned earlier, what we're going to be bringing out through the month of February are some segments, particular topics that we talked with him about, which are a wide range of topics. But we got a little teaser trailer that's out there on YouTube now, so make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and have your notifications on. So we'll queue up the exclusive trailer, which is showing you some of the stuff that will be coming, not all, but some of the things you can look forward to the rest of February from our talk with Coach Prime at Country Prime.
It's the Pregame Show. We come to you live from Country Prime as we sit down with an exclusive with Coach Prime. Get ready. Stay tuned. It's Bishop, it's Neely, it's the Pregame Show from Country Prime.
Man, these folks thought Country Prime was a hashtag.
This is real.
This ain't no clickbait.
This is real. There was nothing on this side of the lake. It was just blank. And I looked across there and I said, baby, don't put a house in there. She's like, no, you should get them to do that. That's what they can't do.
And I can see and feel the happiness on that. You're doing a wonderful job, like a job that ain't never been done before. But to leave this to go do the job, and then to endure what you've been putting up with while doing the job for us.
That means it must be done.
They got to be.
When you away like I am, I like to come back home to something new. Yeah, if I don't feel like I'm working. You take a walk all the way down the street and walk back, and everything is not just giving the sun and shit. Just rest. Somebody want me to really go somewhere, they gotta go get me. They land 15 minutes down the street.
You ain't going.
No, I don't want to go.
I didn't know you were coming back home though, boy. This has been a treat, yeah. I thought you were gonna stay up there. Jackson, boy.
No, not yet. When we get close to starting practice, and
Nate, I beg you, leave. I said, I beg you. Leave and go what? Come back here. This where you recoup at rehab. You better. Jackson, they told on it.
You look back, man, and your blessings, man. Those are blessings, man. Like I tell people, you get a warm feeling when you help people or look out for people the way Prime did. But Prime did not want to know, because one time I asked me, let me get the media out here. No, I don't need the media. I said, you should. No, I don't need the media. This is what I do.
Every once in a while, you running through them kids in them classes over there.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
You gave them the honors.
They never forgot that.
Exclusive teaser there from the pregame show. Welcome back in here on the Black College Sports Network with the shaman of HBCU sports, Neely.
It's the grand poobah.
The grand poobah.
We're not storming the Capitol today, man.
There you go. And a reminder, the football schedule will be coming out on this upcoming Monday. Like I said, go JSUTigers.com. You get all your news and information in regards to what's going on this week in Jackson State athletics. Is that our clarion call to talk about today's game?
Let's talk some basketball, man.
Let's talk a little basketball as we get ready today for our Jackson State men's and women's game as they get ready to take on the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. The Lady Tigers, first up, they come into this game 11-6, 9-0 on the season. I tell you what, they took care of business this past weekend against Grambling as they beat Grambling 81-68. Tougher one this past Monday against Southern. They won 66-58. They're now 9-0 in conference, 9-game winning streak. They're getting it done, Neely.
Absolutely getting it done. And we always knew, you talked about the Texas two-step that was coming to Jackson when we brought in Prairie View and Texas Southern, but we always do that if we could survive and thrive against, and by the way, that's in reference to Dr. Peoples' book. Y'all should still go get that book. Excellent book about the history.
Excellent book.
But if we could thrive and survive against the Louisiana teams, who statistically speaking are, second and third in a lot of categories right behind us. So we knew that Grambling was going to play us tough and Southern was going to play us tough. And they did. They lived up to their numbers. The Lady Tigers against Grambling were able to just go ahead and accelerate at the end when Grambling's big fouled out and some other players got out in foul trouble. And we got that kind of traditional victory you expect from the Lady Tigers. But the Southern Jags on Monday night was the first season that the Lady Tigers were down at halftime.
Yeah.
And so, Coach Reed will tell you all the time, she does not coach the scoreboard. She coaches the game. And in that philosophy, we were able to chip away, get that lead back and accelerate in the fourth quarter. But those were two tough teams. And you never want to take an opponent lightly, because you got to go back through everybody twice and so forth. But the toughest is now behind us. So these Lady Tigers are certainly poised if they can stay away from the Omicron variant, stay injury-free, get Deja Rogan back out of the walking boot, really poised to go undefeated in the SWAC going into the tournament.
You take a look at this Jackson State team, especially that third and fourth quarter against Southern. You got to hang your hat on defense and rebounding, and that's exactly what they did. Our Jackson State ladies, they're number one in scoring defense in the SWAC, limiting opponents to only 61 points per game, and then number one in block shots, averaging 5 block shots a game. When you talk about Amisha Williams-Holiday and Maya Crump patrolling things down there in the paint, and you talk about this Jackson State women's team in terms of rebounding, 7th in the nation in rebound margin, 10.2, and 9th in the NCAA in field goal percentage defense, limiting opponents to only 34% shooting. So they do a tremendous job. When the ball isn't going to the rim, hang your hat on the defense and rebounding the basketball.
Yeah, they seem to be great stats there, Chuck. That's what they call you, the stat man, Charles Bishop. Great stats to really dig deeper into this team and what Coach Reed has put together at 1400 Lynch Street. And another aspect of that is the depth. Because when we get in the third and fourth quarter, you may have some starters getting fatigued or want to shake up lineups. Coach Reed has a bench that you don't know is the bench. If you didn't just the names of the starting five, by the time she gets to her second and third lineups deep into the game, they're not just maintaining the season averages, they are actually adding to. And when you talk about being number one in blocked shots, they're also number one in talking a little trash to you after they block that shot. So they bring some energy. They love it. They take responsibility around the rim as far as rebounding, offensive rebounding, and also aggressive on defense. I do think the past two games with Rogan being out, there seemed to be a sluggish start to guard play. But now that team has found some experience with that lineup without her. That's gone away pretty much. So they are poised to go up there in Valley, man, today and handle business. And we'll be back home Valentine weekend. We have a home game on Saturday the 12th and a home game on Monday the 14th.
Home games this upcoming weekend during Valentine's weekend. Take your sweetheart to go enjoy a little Jackson State basketball.
Since you said you've been under me all week, I guess I'll take you. Pause.
They take on the Mississippi Valley State Devilettes, who are 2-15 on the season, 1-8 in SWAC play. But when you talk about this Devilette basketball team, one thing they ain't shy about doing, they gonna shoot the three ball. They are tops in the conference in terms of threes attempted, 422 threes attempted, 121 made. They're averaging 7.1 3-pointers per game, while posting top 20 and top 30 marks nationally in forced turnovers. So they're going to play a little defense. They're going to scramble around a little bit and force you, trying to force that ball out of your hands. Then they're going to jack it up there.
So as far as those threes go, Chuck, again, excellent analysis. We got to see which Devilette teams shows up today. If they're making them, we have got to play some perimeter defense and get some hands up on those shots, which can limit, because threes typically have long rebounds, can limit some of our rebound opportunities. But hopefully they get to taking those shots and they keep shooting them and they're missing them versus keep shooting them because they're in Golden State Warrior mode. It just depends on which. Now, they're going to attempt them. They shoot threes. They live and die off the three like we live and die around the basketball rim with our bigs. But it's just a matter of, are they knocking down those shots? Do they get some confidence early to keep shooting? Because we saw that happen last week with Grambling. Grambling just would not miss. From the mid-range of three, low into the shot clock, you're playing 20, 25, 30 seconds of strong defense and 3 or 4 seconds left in the shot clock, and they nail a three, what looks like a miracle, but it really was part of their game plan to, use a lot of clock and make that three ball. So we'll see what Valley does in that regard. I still say Lady Tigers, man, with that depth and our length around the rim and our rebound ability, going to be hard for any of those remaining teams in the SWAC to give us trouble if we play our game. If we shift to their game, that's when things can get shaky. But looking forward to a victory up there today.
Yeah, looking forward to a victory up there today. A name that our Tiger fans want to keep an eye out for is Ronnie Williams. Ronnie Williams had one of the most impressive performances for the Devilettes in quite some time. She had triple-double. 17 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds versus UAPB. She is a Memphis product. She has one of the leaders in the SWAC in terms of assists. She has 88 dimes on the season, good for second most in the conference, 5.2 per game. She's also runner-up the league-wide in terms of looking at steals. She's averaging 2.4 steals per game. So tough defender. A name you want to keep your eye out on is Ronnie Williams for the Mississippi Valley State Devilettes. Let's turn the page. Let's talk about the men. It has been a rough go for our Jackson State men. 4-16 on the season, 2-7 in SWAC play. They fell short last week in the inaugural Bridge Builder Classic against Grambling, lost 73-64. They also dropped at home contest to Southern this past weekend. Been a tough go for our guys, but one thing has been consistent has been the play of Javius McKinnis. He has, again, getting it done week in, week out for this Jackson State Tiger basketball team.
Man, it's going to sound like we can just pick up some previous episodes and press play, broken record play here. We got to get J-Mac some help, some consistent help, whether it is assists, getting other players involved, or knocking down some mid-range shots. You talk about that record in the SWAC, I think 2-7. The Tigers are 2-7. There are probably about 2 or 3 games we left out there, losing by 1 or 2 points or less than 6 points, and had some woulda, coulda, shoulda moments. So this team is still much better than the record appears, but here's where we are, Chuck. We're now in February.
Yeah.
We have gotten the non-conference schedule done with. We have gotten the month of January in conference. Now it is the month of February. This is where you got to start peaking, because you want to go into the February on high, ready for that SWAC tournament. So we got to right the ship. I don't want to say that today is a must-win game for the Tigers, but today is a must-win game for the Tigers.
I'll say it. Today is a must-win game for the Tigers as Mississippi Valley State. They come in on a 6-game losing streak. You want to be able to get not only just the bragging rights, but you just got to get back on the win side of the column for our Jackson State basketball team. Like I said, the constant has been the scoring and rebounding of Javis McKinnis. He had 15 points, a 16 rebound effort versus Grambling for the season. He's averaging 12.2 points per game and 10 rebounds. He's averaging a double-double, which is 14th nationally when you take a look at what he's been doing. And get this, 6th in the nation in block shots. He's averaging almost 3.5 block shots a game, 69 block shots on the season. So you got to find some scoring to go along with what Javis McKinnis is doing. Hopefully Jonas James and others, Malachi Wyman, can pick up the scoring slack for Jackson State. And we look great in spurts, but it's just closing things out toward the end of the game.
Yeah, and again, man, the record is pretty misleading. You know, I know 2-7 is 2-7, but we had some games out there that got away from us. Even this Southern game, almost the entire football team was there and on their feet and cheering on the Tigers. And we were in that game with minutes to spare. So the score of that game really does not tell the true story of it. But we got to get another guy. We got to get another guy that's going to get you consistently 8 to 13 points somewhere in there per game. We got to have somebody who's going to get us, 8 to 10 assists per game. And that's going to, because J-Mac is going to be J-Mac. He's rolling out of bed with a double-double. He's rolling out of bed, getting you anywhere from 3 to 5 blocks. And so that's taking away points from them. His rebounding skill on the defensive side is taking away second chance opportunities. His rebounding on the offensive side is giving us second chances. We just got to stop losing by 6 points without having somebody else do their part. So today you're on the road to Valley, quote unquote, hostile environment, but a team that has totally underperformed, coached by, one of our greats, one of our Hall of Famers, Lindsey Hunter. He wants to get his ship righted against us, but we've got to find a way to run up there in Valley, man. I think psychologically it's a must-win game for us. We got to somehow get some wins and start peaking, because, Chuck, I said it all December, all January. It's here now. It's February. We got to win in February.
Yeah, I got to win in February. And when we talk about this Mississippi Valley State Delta Devil team, they mimic the Devil S. When you talk about the way they jack up threes, propensity for the long ball, they're averaging the second most threes in the league. They're averaging 6.8 threes to go along with a second best turnover margin of plus 2.3. So when you take a look at the Devils and their scoring, I think what jumps out is they have 3 Mississippi Valley State Delta Devil players that are scoring, averaging in the double digits. Anchor, Robert Carpenter, he's averaging almost 18 points per game, 17.9. Caleb Hunter, 13.8 points per game, Lindsey's son. And then you also have Devin Gordon, who's averaging 10 points per game. This duo, they've combined to make 100 3-pointers thus far this season. And Caleb Hunter, he's a 3-point shy from the 1,000-point benchmark. So Caleb can get it up there and get some points going. And this is a team, I watched them. When they get hot, they're a little scared.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Chuck. They mirror their female counterparts that played before them as far as shooting and having a green light mentality. But most programs, football, basketball, badminton, and bowling, you're going to take on the characteristics of your head coach. And Lindsey Hunter is a green light guy. He is
green light.
We're going to go down shooting because you got to get the ball in the basket. And his son is a mirror image of him physically and the way they walk and dribble and move the ball. And
exactly.
One of them hesitates about throwing up a shot no matter where they are on the floor. So you can expect that the defense is going to have to extend and get out there on the perimeter and get some hands up, just like the Lady Tigers have to do. And then that heat check, man, are they going to be knocking them down? And shooting with confidence, or are they gonna, be off on them and shooting less than 30% but still going? and producing some long range rebounds for us and some get out fast breaks that we can count on, make some layups, maybe even get fouled in that process. Regardless, Chuck, again, here we are. I've always said we got to score more than 60 to win. I even hit it with the Southern game. Y'all got to start betting with Neely. I said we need 65 to beat Southern. We scored 64. Today to beat Valley, we got to get north of 58. We got to get north of 58 points. We do that, we win, take care of some other road games before coming back home. But, Chuck, we're in February, and it is no more excuses time. We got to win some ball games so that we're peaking right and get a good seed for that tournament. We're probably getting close to mathematical where we have to travel for the first game. Regardless of what happens, but I haven't crunched the numbers to see if that's out of reach yet. But we do need to start turning the corner and getting some victories so that we peak in March. Because when you get to the tournament, you just got to be the best team for that game. And this team is built to be the best team for a game, regardless of this 2-7 current record.
No better place to close out. We're right up against tip-off with the women's game. Like you said, February is the month. You got to turn it up a notch. Women have been doing a tremendous job, 9-0 in conference play. Men got to get there, got to turn that knob, if you will, and start peaking as we get going towards March, towards a SWAC tournament. Got to get there, I tell you what, any players that you think need to click to today for the women or the men?
No, I just want to point out that Chuck used the word propensity. And I want everybody out there in Tiger Nation to make sure you Google that and become familiar with it, because he has the propensity to throw out big words every now and again. So I'm going to leave it right there, Chuck.
No better place to close it. Thank you for joining us here on the Pregame Show with Bishop and Dilly on the Black College Sports Network. Be sure to tune in next Saturday, Valentine's weekend. We'll bring you more Jackson State pregame basketball.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for all those who's listening and watching it from around the world. And we are now live from the corner of Dalton and Lynch Street. It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the Pregame with your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready, because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the Pregame.